Well, a message on my Facebook page has taken my investigation into convict cops to an entirely new level. I received one of these messages after my stories aired earlier this month. Avery, that video is of my son, Chris. As a mother, I could never watch this whole video. My stomach turns. Chris has never been the same after that assault. He's been trying to rebuild his life. He's been sober for almost 9 months. And then she sent me this. He's a friend of your son's and has even spent time at your house. Tonight, the parallel lives of the two men who are captured on this dash cam video.
As much as people want to see that I was drunk in the video and I was behaving badly, I'm not that person. Just as he's not that person who he even said he looked like as a monster or whatever, right? I don't even look at him like a monster. He's human, I'm human, right?
Cruiser dash cam video captures a violent collision between two lives in crisis.
I cut my central vac system up and I hooked it up to the exhaust of my car, and then I sent a suicide note to my family, and I guess one of my family members called 911 and they came here.
That's deep.
4 years later, and now 23 years old, Christopher knew nothing about the officer who assaulted him.
I would have never guessed that he had been going through anywhere near what he was going through in his life at the time, you know? I myself, 2 months prior to that situation, tried taking my own life. It's kind of freakish to know that he was going through something so similar in his life. It's like our paths were meant to meet.
Suicide attempts, untreated mental health issues, alcoholism, two men driven by the same demons, intertwined on a rock bottom video.
It just seemed like my whole world was crumbling in one particular evening, and I turned to alcohol to numb it.
And it's kind of funny because they looked at me and they said, "There's nothing wrong with you. You're just addicted to drugs. We can't help you." And I got turned away just like he got turned away by the cops.
Both men look back on that night with regret and gratitude.
Up here, I'm the best I've ever been. You know, I'm actually, it's the first time I've felt happiness in a long, long time. And I owe that strictly to you know, being forced out of the service. Essentially, it was a blessing in disguise.
Do you feel like your life is in a better place now than it was?
It is. You know what? It honestly is. Something has pushed me to get to where I am today, to continue pushing myself forward.
A story that began with exposing the difficult to obtain data of just what happens after cops are convicted of crimes has evolved into a human story of forgiveness. If you could say anything to this cop, would you? Would there be anything that you would say to him?
I would tell him that I'm sorry that he didn't get the help he deserved. Like, especially being it actually angers me that they completely ignored the factor that he was asking for help, that he wanted help, you know? And here I was thinking, oh, it's just me that it doesn't get help in society. Everything's meant to happen for a reason too, right? I believe that. I really truly believe that. So maybe that put him there that night, and I was put there that night to go through what we need to go through to push us in different directions. I feel like I would probably just cry and hug him, because, you know, I know the pain, and it sucks. It really does.
Now, I called Gary Gould last night to tell him about the story that we were airing today, and he said that if he had a chance to meet Christopher, he'd want to hug him as well.
Okay, what an incredible set of circumstances, and how insane is it that you actually had a connection to one of the people in your story?
When I received the Facebook message from Christopher's mom, it was my heart stopped. You don't often have a collision between your personal and your private lives. And, you know, hearing from both Gary Gould, whose family reached out to me on Facebook as well, and from Christopher's family, we had started this investigation as a numbers game. It was just to look at the numbers and to expose just how difficult it is to get the numbers of what happens to officers after they're convicted. And I just feel as though the voices that were added by both Christopher and Gary turn this into a human element. It's not black and white. It doesn't mean giving an excuse. It means showing compassion for the complexity of the context of the situation that they both found themselves in. I've written about this, and it's up on our website on CityNews.ca.
It's a very good read. Thank you, Avery.
Thanks.